All right, welcome to YMCA Monday 5:30 yoga. Still a little bit uncomfortable with Zoom, but we'll give it our best shot here. Would genuinely love to see people coming back to class, but I totally understand. The music you hear playing is by Robbie. I have not got permission to write the music, but I have sent her asking for it. So please don't share this music. Excellent. Love her. I think you can download it too. So come seated. Maybe grab a block or a book if you need to. Maybe a pillow or a blanket. And begin by taking a deep breath in. Breathe in. Open mouth, exhale. Just let that go. Let go of your day. Let go of any stress or anxiety that you're carrying with you to your mat. Do this a couple more times. Breathing in through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. When you feel like you've let go of some of the stuff, begin to settle into a breath where it's a mindful breath, and you breathe in and you begin to fill the belly button up all the way down into the pelvis. Breathe in. And then expand that breath into the rib cage. And lastly into the throat. And then on the exhale, you're going to take your belly button, your core, and you're going to push it in, pull it towards the spine, and empty the lungs from the bottom to the top out. And come into this mindful ujjayi, which means victorious breath. We call this a 3-part breath. And eventually you can slow that breath down to 4 to 8 counts, a couple counts in between breaths, and slow exhale out. Pause between the exhale and the inhale, and then breathe in. Sometimes you can bring your tongue up behind your top of your teeth and bring a constriction to the back of the throat to make an audible breath. Now on your next inhale, begin to lift up through the rib cage and imagine lengthening the spine, the tailbone, through the neck, through the top of the head, as though some beautiful force was pulling you nice and long, straight from your spine. Bring a half smile to your lips. Bring the hands together, the thumbs press into your sternum. Breathe into your heart a breath or two. Come to a beautiful place of intention. Something that you can focus on during your practice or dedicate your practice to. Shelley, all right, so beginning with some movement here. We're going to lengthen, keep with that nice deep breath. Take a breath in. And on the exhale, your right shoulder. Feel that. Inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, lift over to the left shoulder. Notice if there's a difference in the sides of your neck. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, lift forward. Inhale. Exhale, lift the chin to the ceiling. Come up behind the top of your feet and breathe. Inhale. Exhale, right ear to right shoulder. You can bring your left arm out and stretch through the arm and press through the heel of the hand. Breathe into this. Instructor up north taught this. I thought it felt pretty good. Inhale, and on the exhale, come back to center. Inhale. Exhale, lift over to the left. Extend the right arm. Press through the heel. Feel that entire length of the upper body. On an inhale, come back to center. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring the chin towards the chest. It's a rolling forward like you have an apple under your chin. And keeping the shoulders from collapsing. On an inhale, bring the chin level. And on the exhale, bring the chin towards the ceiling. Now, if this is uncomfortable in the back of your neck, you can bring the hands behind you for support and just rest in there. Or don't do it at all. If you've had a whiplash or back injury, maybe it's not a pose for you to practice. But if you can get into this pose, the tongue comes up behind the top two teeth, and I want you to imagine all this gland, this sinus network, and all these tubes that drain down into our tummy, into our glandular system, opening up, allowing anything toxic in our body to start draining through to get to the elimination center. Let go. It's part of the beauty of yoga. It's very detoxifying practice. Inhale. Now bringing energy to the shoulders. I'd like you to take a roll forward. And on the exhale, roll the shoulders down the back. Breathing in as I roll up. Pausing, feeling that stretch. Exhaling down the back. If your breath doesn't match the rotation, that's okay. Maybe you breathe in and do a full rotation. Exhale and do the next rotation. Well, maybe you haven't practiced the breath and you do a full inhalation in and out, coming up. Full and coming down the back. Okay. Main thing is that you're breathing and moving. All right, from center, feel that. The other thing with yoga is we always want to reverse the direction, making sure we work the body in both directions. So this time I'm breathing up the back and exhaling down the front. One more time. And when you feel ready, come to center and feel that in the body. Feel that opening up the shoulders and neck. And then let's take a breath and open our wings. And on the exhale, rotate long like a spiral staircase and bring your left hand to your right knee and your right hand in behind you and press away from the mat so that you have as long of a spine as you can. And breathe. Find the tailbone and breathe all the way up that spine. Eyes are open during the twist. Feel that. Every once in a while, I get a little snap, crackle, pop with my hip, and to be honest, it feels really good. One more breath, slow and easy in. Fill the belly. And exhale out. The breath in, open the wings. And on the exhale, slowly, nice, gentle, slow movement, rotating all the way over to the left. Right hand to the left knee and the left hand in behind. Exhale, bottom to top. Notice if there's a difference in stiffness or alignment from one side to the other. That injury can be an awareness of the body that you'll learn. And on. Right. Take a breath in, open things up. And exhale. Right. So the next part is I'm going to bring the soles of my feet together, bringing the hips up towards the heels. And you can bring these heels in as close as you can, as long as you have a nice long spine. And if you have a mirror, work out in front of the mirror, that's important that you're not curving over and slumping. We slump enough in Minnesota that we want to gently pull up, roll those shoulders away from the ears, nice long chin level, and breathe. Now, if you have bad knees, then you would bring the heels farther away from you into what we would call more of a butterfly. So taking a breath in, and I just gently grab a hold of my shins and my ankles here. And on the exhale, I'm going to draw these knees towards the mat. Obviously, the full pose is to grab a hold of the feet. Now, what's important in this pose, I'm not a big fan of seated forward folds. They tend to exacerbate back pain. So to do a correct forward fold in this, it's very important to imagine you have a yardstick going right from the top of the head right through your spine, and that yardstick cannot bend. So I come to about here, and that's going to be it for me. Part of the reason is that our pelvis is in the way, no matter how you slice it or dice it. So then people want to arch their back and bring their forehead down. And then that's putting all this torque, if you think about that, picking up that baby. So, you can pick up 10 pounds close to you, but so many people reach for the baby, they go to pick the baby up, and that 10 pounds becomes 50 pounds when it's out here. So when we do this, we've got a certain amount of waist from the rib cage up. We inhale, and on the exhale, we begin to bend here. And then all of a sudden, I was using the entire length of my back to fold. As soon as I arch those shoulders forward and bring that chin forward, I just put all this upper weight times 3 probably on my lower back. So when you're practicing this, come as long as you can and check yourself in a mirror. As soon as you begin, see, that just even hurts when I do that. It's very important. Otherwise, just stay in this upper seated place and work on this stretch. All right? And breathe. All right, so then we're going to bring the knees together and come to tabletop. All right. So the knees are under my hips, hip width apart. My hands are under my shoulders, shoulder width apart. I'm trying to spread my fingers evenly, including my thumb. As we age, our fingers aren't going to get arthritic. So I want to evenly distribute that weight, make my fingers stretch out a little bit. Tops of the feet are on the floor. If you can't lay your feet flat, take a towel or something and roll it up under the top of your foot for a little support there. That's okay. And come to a breath here. Nice level spine, neck is an extension of the spine. Take breath in, breathe in. Exhale out, bottom to top. Now it's a little different when you're in this stance. Now on your next inhale, sway the back, tilt the tailbone up, lengthen through the chest, through the neck. Gaze is going forward like at the top of my neck. I'm not cranking my head up, just lengthening. Then on the exhale, I pull those back muscles up and in. First bandha. I roll those muscles up and in, and then I roll my core up and in, push away from my mat, arch over my shoulders like a Halloween kitty, bring my chin to my chest. This is an exhale, and it is a flex. On the inhale, you uncurl your tailbone, sway the back, and you relax the muscles. And you breathe in, nice big belly breath. Exhale. Hold the core up and in. Hold the arms up and in. Exhale completely. Inhale. Now the beauty of cat-cows is you can do them at your own pace. Your own flexation. So I have a little too much sway in my back, so I do a little more cat. And when I come into cow, I maybe don't go down as deep as I could. On the exhale, I really try to firm up the back muscles. The whole entire pelvic floor is lifted. I like to do these in bed before I get out of bed, I'll be honest. I do a lot of my stretches in the morning right in bed, and then I get up and do some salutations, and I'm ready to go. All right, so coming to nice level back. You can always pause this and take time to do extra. We're going to work a little bit on balance, and we're going to take a breath in, and on the exhale, extend through that left foot. Foot is flexed and the hips are level. This is the beginning of a really nice core workout. If you want more, you extend your right arm, draw the shoulder away from the ear, press the palm inward, and stretch, and breathe. Core is very engaged through this. Pelvis muscles are pulled up and tongue up behind the top. Gaze at the top of my mat, and breathe. Inhale, lengthen. And on the exhale, release them back up forward. All right, other side. Don't worry if you do right to left to right. I usually try to work right to left. Inhale on the exhale, so this time it's my right leg with my left arm. And breathe. And if you are just new to yoga, and maybe you don't have that core built up, maybe just had a baby or something, you can just do the arms and then the legs by themselves until you get stronger. I couldn't do these when I first started yoga. That's okay. Inhale. And on the exhale, release. Feel that in the body. Great. So I'm going to take a breath in. I'm going to come into child's pose. Now there's a couple of things here. Some people like to bring the big toes together and the knees out wider than their hips. It doesn't feel good in my hips, so I keep my knees together. That's how I learn. And another thing, if you have bad knees, you can throw a little blanket or a towel rolled up behind your knees. And sometimes that gives you a little extra cushion. Walk the hands out in front of you. Inhale. And on the exhale, you draw your hips back towards those heels. And then bring the forehead to the earth. And there's a couple things you can do here. You can stack your hands if you can't bring your head to the earth. You can use the block or a pillow. But what's important is that connection with the earth, a grounding. Here again, letting go. Child's pose was to let go of what you didn't need. Let it ground into the earth. You think, well, it's a bow. It is a bow. It was about the gurus and the people who held spiritual importance, the priests. So it is. It's letting go of what you don't need so that when you come up to meet the spirit that you believe in, you're opened up. You're ready to receive. And on an inhale, you very gently begin to lift your head, make your way up back to the top. All right, so I'm going to start with a low lunge tonight, just to get some strength going up in our arms. And then, so I'm going to step my right foot forward. Now, there's a way to do this from down dog, but what I wanted to do first is to begin to stretch out the hamstrings, which I think really helps for down dog. So my left foot, my toes are tucked. My right foot is forward.
My knee can come a little farther in front of the knee and a lunge support it. But what I want to do here is I want to draw my hips so my hips are on the same plane with the top of the mat. I want this leg cocked forward. I want to be even up with my hips. And then if you're okay here, you can take a breath in. Bring the hands together and place your bottom three fingers into a steeple grip. Now, push both sides of the hips forward and breathe. Pointing up the legs to the bottom. And if you want, you can lift up and back up. Inhale and exhale. Bring the hands. So I'm going to grab a block here. Come into, that's on my right hand. And I'm going to come back and lift my foot up. Come into a little runner stretch here. Stretching out the whole back of the leg. Be careful not to hyperextend here. You want to do just a little bit of a maybe a bend there to protect it. At least don't block. Breathe in. Forward. Inhale and exhale from that right foot back. And breathe. Tuck the toes to the right foot now. Inhale. And bring my left leg. Once again, my feet are about hip width apart. I'm going to come up. If this is hard on your knee, feel free to put a blanket or extra pad. Once again, I'm going to bring that left hip back a little bit, right hip forward. Straightening up through the hips here. Inhale, reach up. Now, normally I have my left finger in front. I'm going to bring my right finger in front. Switch my grip. This is really good for left brain and cognitive stabilization. So, this is why teachers sometimes in elementary do these right brain, left brain hand exercises. So switching that grip is hard to do. And it's a little different stretch in your body. We do that a lot in my practice. Inhale. And on the exhale, coming back down, find that block. And then I'm going to gently rotate back on. I've had some damage in this knee, so take it a little easy. Feeling that nice long stretch in the back of the cat calf. I'm doing a lot of gardening. Leg muscles are really stretched out right now. They're not stretched out, they're stretched out right now. A lot of bending. Come forward. Bring that left foot back. Tucking my toes. I'm going to bring my hands out and come into a plank pose. So this is where your down dog plank should be, but it's pretty hard for beginners. You would exhale here and bring the tailbone towards the ceiling, lifting up, and then I'm lengthening through the spine and through the neck, bringing the weight on the L's of the thumb and the forefingers. I like to come up way high on my toes and then lower my heels down. Coming into this long downward facing dog and breathe. But for beginners, most people want to step up, probably a foot length, and come into a shorter down dog and breathe. But the shorter the dog, the more stretch there is in the hamstrings. So be aware of that. So breathe your heels, don't come to the floor. It's really hard to bring the heels to the floor unless you keep it flat. On an inhale, look up between your legs and walk your hands back towards your feet. You come into a nice deep knee bend. Belly resting on the thighs. So the weight of the upper body is held up here. And then I'm going to bring my hands to opposite elbows and just lengthen through the back here. I'm sure my back is curved somewhat, but it's supported on my thighs. Now you talk about the grip thing. So my left arm's on top. I'm going to take my arms out. I'm going to switch my grip. And just for me, I can feel it in my shoulders. Started doing this about 6 months ago. And it's like, wow. Get really dominant on one side of the body. Now, because our back is curved and not supported, I'm going to bring my hands to the knees, and I'm going to press up and begin to lengthen out my spine. So it's nice and long, and then I'm going to let go of the knees and come to standing and mountain pose. Time for some water. So when I come into mountain pose, sometimes I literally lift my feet up and find a stance where I feel comfortable. I also like to come up on the balls of the feet, bounce that energy down. How you feel that connection with the earth. Lift all 10 toes, bring down one time. Baby bend in the knees. And then there's a wrapping of these muscles around the knees, kind of lifting up through the thighs, and it's a gentle rotation in. Bring the hands to the waist, bring your middle finger to the bone. And then that bone should be level. So I talked about I have too much sway in my back. So I literally use my thumb and bring this little as is bone so it's straight. Headlights. So my whole body now from the waist down is very engaged, lifting up through the rib cage. My breath is going to get a little restricted because my core is engaged. I'm going to roll the shoulders back and down. And I'm going to lift the top of the crown towards the sky. Not through the ceiling, but all the way through to the heavens. So I am that connection between the earth and the heavens. Grounded. Feeling guidance, stability in my life. Taking a breath in, reach up. And on the exhale, slowly lower the hands down. Try to get some control here. Breathe up, speak the mantra, share it with you. Inhale. And exhale. Probably one of the best movements there is to begin to slow the breath down and deepen the breath. One more time. Inhale. Heart center. Gather up that intention. Back. All right. Keep this body engaged. I'm going to take a breath in. And on the exhale, I'm going to press on my prayer hands towards the ceiling. Come into my steeple grip again. And then breathing in, I'm going to reach up. And on the exhale, I'm going to stretch over to the right. So it's a lifting action, stretching over to the right. My right rib cage is still lifted as though I was laying over one of those big body balls. So it's really easy to collapse down into the rib cage here, but it's stretch. And feel the stretch all the way to the left side of the body. What's it like? Found that big stretch. That's one of my favorites. Right, take a breath in, come back up to center, find that center again. To the earth and inhale, lift up, and on the exhale, reach over to the left. And eyes are open. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, lift up the back. Inhale, center. Open your arms up so that they are parallel with each other. Inhale, and on the exhale, sit down in your chair. Right. Knees come back behind the big toe. When you glance down, see the big toe. So long stretch. In an ideal world, I would straight up towards the skin of my back. Inhale and exhale, sit down. So there's a different pose where you're called thunderbolt here. This pose is though you are sitting proper in a chair and breathe. So there's about 60% of the weight in my heels, 40% of the ball feet. Trying to lift my throat. That's so up. All right, inhale. And exhale. Feel your heartbeat. All right. Inhale, press up. Find that connection between earth and heaven and switch to your other grip. Inhale, lift up, and on the exhale, reach over to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, lift over to the right. Inhale, back up to center. Exhale, back into a little gentle back. I'm not really pushing the pelvis forward very much. I don't want to overdo it and stretch it and reaching back. Inhale. And on the exhale, bring your hands toward center. All right. Step the feet together. Squeeze the thighs, squeeze the knees. Inhale, and on the exhale, sit back down in your chair. Imagine you've got a $100 bill between your knees. Some ornery rug rat in your life trying to take away. Dad, I need that $100. Gotta get it out from my knees. Dinner out Friday night. And a movie. Chair is really good for your body. On and back standing. Feel that body. All right, I'm gonna grab some water. In yoga, it's a good idea not to gulp water. Backfire on here. All right, coming into the back of the mat, into a warrior series. Once again, this is going to find that grounding. That grounding is lifting up, leveling my hips. I'm going to bring my hands to my heart. I'm going to swivel my right, or my other right, my left heel about 45 degrees. Take a breath in and on the exhale and step forward with my right foot. Now, for men especially, they can usually line up heel to heel. Most women need to walk that front foot out a little bit to bring these hips towards the front of the mat. Once again, this line, this plane of the hip should be parallel with the top of your mat. Sometimes it helps to bring the opposite arm over and then bring the hand up and breathe. Now here I can reach up out of my shoulders, which is hard on the shoulders, or I can draw the shoulders away from the ears, grip onto a 5-pound weight here, and pressing forward. The knee never goes out top of that, in front of the ankle. You should be able to glance down and see your big toe. And breathe. I think a lot of teachers go way too fast in these poses. Part of the buildup, the actual increase in the heart rate is flexing in this pose. All the muscles from the neck down should be lifting gently up with the arches of the feet, a little more weight on the edges and there. The heel, the action comes out of this back leg. The heel is rooted. And all right, now I'm going to drop my hands down and I'm going to begin to draw a bow and arrow. Open up into a warrior two. This knee wants to drop in, so it's very important that this knee tracks the second toe.
I'm a little bit tall, so sometimes I widen my stance. I open up and I look through and over that front arm and breathe. Once again, all the muscles from the neck down and just toes are flexed. And you're breathing. The hips are centered. My head should be centered over my hips. My arms level with my shoulders. And breathe. Now, keeping my feet rooted, I'm going to flip that front hand palms up and lift up. The other hand's going to go to my thigh, my chin to my armpit, and I'm going to reach up and feel this long stretch through my body. This is called exalted warrior. Some people like to add a reverse warrior here. It never feels good in my rib cage, so I avoid it. But it's a reaching back, keeping that front knee. I find that I have more breath here, more lift through my body in the pelvic. Inhale and on the exhale, bring that arm and thigh, and lift the left arm to the ceiling. Taking a breath in here, we're going to open up like wings. Now, I'm not dropping this top arm back behind the meridian of my body. I'm reaching up and lifting my heart towards the ceiling. Once again, you start to drop that arm back and you're getting that weird torque on your back. It's not healthy. Side ankle pose. And then on the inhale, I'm going to gently come back up. And on the exhale, bring my hands to my hips. And I'm going to come into a nice wide-legged stance. And it's important to protect your knees in this stance. So baby toes, the toes in a baby fold in, like your pigeon toed. So that the heels are out a little bit wider than your big toe. The crease of your hip is right here, not the waist, but here. So put the index finger in that crease of the hip, press into the floor, lift up out of the mat. Inhale nice and long, and on the exhale, you're going to come down long back. Now we talked about not curving the back. My anatomy teacher always gets at me because I get to about here, and I can see I'm losing flexation in my back. So I'm going to grab my brick here, and from here, where my back is long and straight, and breathe. Now, if you are able to keep that structure in the back, you can bring the hands to the back mat. The goal is to bring them in line with the foot. My hamstrings are so tight. Tonight. And then I'm going to walk my brick to under my heart here. I'm going to bring my left hand to it. My weight is now even between the lower hand and the 2 feet, and I'm going to inhale and lift up to the right and breathe, opening this heart. And it's a slow change and a dance-like movement. When you inhale, and on the exhale, you slowly come down very mindfully. And you replace the left hand and inhale the left hand. And you open your heart. Exhale. Left hand comes down, right hand comes up. This is a great one for depression. Breathe. I think there's been a little bit of depression during COVID, so maybe do it for these. The beauty of this pose is you can just be at your desk and kind of do it at your desk. Just using the desk as your block. Do it seated. The main thing is that you're lifting up through that. Exhale. So I'm going to walk the brick back. And this time I'm going to reverse my hands so my wrists are forward. And I've got some pressure on that thumb joint. And I'm stretching my hands, inhaling and pushing away from the mat. And then I kind of like to rock, imagining that I'm stretching the front of this wrist. Opening up. So many blood vessels and nerves coming through that little opening in our body. Kind of like all those cords that you have by your computer when they're loose, and then all of a sudden you wrap them up and you just realize how much stuff we have for cords. Well, it's the same thing going through our wrists. Everything gets knotted up in there, and your wrists start to hurt, thumbs hurt. Because we're going to do this and feel good. All right. And then reverse the hand. Come up on my fingertips. I'm going to very mindfully pull my bathroom muscles up and in, and my core up and in, and come to that nice flat back. And on an inhale, very slowly, I'm going to come back to standing. Even slower if you're on inhale. Okay. And I'm going to heel toe in. Come back to the back. Another good time to have a once again, finding that place that the routine and kind of step off the mat. This is where you come to root ground to find pleasure in your body, mind, and spirit. So we always want to make sure that you carry and from the heart center. I'm going to rotate my right heel in this time and step forward with my left foot. Adjust my stance. And then using my right arm, I'm going to try to draw that right hip forward. This is my tighter side. And then bring my left arm up. And once again, I'm grabbing onto this energy. I'm coming out of this back leg and just driving this force upward. Front leg is there for stability. All the muscles from my neck down are engaged. So there's something about finding stillness in the pose, strength in the pose. There's almost always this kind of subtle movement of adjustment and tensing and flexing the muscles. With the toes. All right, lift that bow and arrow, drop down, drawing my bow. Opening up across the heart, centering, making sure that knee stays trapped. Open up and gaze open. And breathe. All right, this is your space on this planet. It belongs to you. This is your place right now. Put the hand out in, up. Lift up out of the ribcage and breathe. Notice that I'm not drawing my chin towards the ceiling. See that in all the beautiful pictures? What are you doing back? You're pressing your cervical spine. Well, lengthen through the neck. The gaze is upward, not the chin. Again, feel free to lift back into reverse warrior. Feel that. Does it talk to you in a positive way? Don't do it. Inhale, on the exhale, bring the left arm to the side, right arm to the ceiling. Now I'm going to find my center here and really reach up towards the ceiling, not allowing this arm to go backwards. Up, lengthen up my arm, press into that thigh, and then I'm going to lift my heart and my gaze. Body should be working. Now this muscle are engaged. Inhale, open back up. Exhale the hands to the hips. The last part of the standing movement is going to be a little bit of Tai Chi. At least I think it's Tai Chi. Found it on the internet years ago. I don't even know the source moves stagnant, dead energy, past energy, bad energy, negative energy out of our body and away from us. So it's important that you're not pushing. I'm not going to push into the camera. I can stand a little bit at an angle. So we come into a goddess or horseman pose. So you notice now my heels are in and my toes are out. And I'm going to come into a squat here. All right, my back is nice and long and straight. Well, not really, but as good as a 6-year-old can do. All right, so I'm coming in here. And I'm really rooted and grounded here. Now, if this gets to be too much, on any inhale, you can come up, and on any exhale, you can come back down. All right, so hands come to touch in the front. The first thing we're going to do is clear the path of the heart. So breathe in, up, draw this energy to the heart, and the exhale, release. We're going to inhale and gather whatever spiritual, fire, hot energy, healing energy. Breathe that in. And on the exhale, you're going to expand this energy. So it's like a ball of fire. Bring it to the front. And on the inhale, draw it into the heart. And on the exhale, imagine all this heart, anything that's blocking it is burned away. We're going to inhale, have that energy, healing, loving, kind energy, but it's hot. We're going to bring it behind us. We're going to grab a hold of something that no longer serves us. Maybe it's a lot of this fear and tension. And we're going to bring it up and on the exhale, push it away. The forefingers come to the thumb. We're going to inhale and open our heart to what we believe is beyond us. God, spirit, loving life force, any God that you believe in. Religion and yoga, it's to connect with who you believe or what you believe. Breathe in. And then on the exhale, we're going to draw that God energy to the ground here and lift it into the heart. And exhale out. We're going to do this 3 more times. We're going to inhale, grab a hold of this beautiful energy. And we're going to exhale it. And maybe this time we're going to bring something up from our past. Maybe it's been consummated since we've been in this stress. And we're going to push it away. Something sad. Anything. We're going to open our heart up again to what we believe. And on the exhale, we're going to bring that new fresh energy. Inhale, gather. Exhale, behind. Inhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to your heart. One more time. Everybody has stuff. Inhale, bring that stuff up. Exhale. Open your heart. Trust. Exhale. And then we're going to very gently go heal you. Come back. I usually feel that pretty good in my hips. So there's a yoga thing that men hold their tension and anger in shoulders. So you'll notice there's a lot of shoulder movement in that, letting go. If you think about cartoons of men, get up here, get in a fight, they're up here, this whole part of the body tenses, and that pushes down hard, which is why sometimes when you get angry, part of that. Women, they say, we bring it to our hips, and we hold this past, this feminine connection with others, some of that frustration that goes with it, and it goes back generational. So as we age, we begin to glide in through the hips. And we start to hold this tension in our hips. That's why a lot of women end up with hip problems. We fall, we break our hip and we fall, and we end up in a restaurant.
out from my past. All right, so now we're going to make our way to the floor. I certainly hope this is recording because I'm liking this workout. And anyway, so I'm going to come to seated. Clear the flesh away from my hip bone. And come to a nice long spine, rolling my shoulders back and down. And then just finding my breath again. And drawing into almost a meditative feeling here. And I'm going to draw the breath in. I'm going to find my belly button. On the exhale, I'm going to begin to rotate the belly button counterclockwise. This is an energy thing again. And I'm going to keep breathing in and breathing out as I move. Use belly button rolls. I'm using my arms to make the roll as large as I can. So if you imagine that my body is one of those big bakery bowls, and my spine is that spatula that comes down and rotates and scrapes the edges. And I want to make sure I get all the edges as I rotate through it. And very gently, I'm going to come to center. I'm just going to take a pause here. Some people will be a little lightheaded in these. And I will say that I like doing these with younger kids. They seem to enjoy them. And I'm going to draw that breath back in, find the belly button. This time I'm going to release and I'm going to go clockwise, the yin energy, the female. And I'm going to draw that belly button in a circle, scraping the bowl. Now I want you to imagine that your organs are the flour, the butter, sugar, the pancreas, stomach, intestine, spleen, kidneys. And as you scrape and turn, that diaphragm is acting as a mixer and moving deeply into your digestive system and deeply into the lymph nodes, organs. Imagine how healthy this is as you breathe in that beautiful oxygen into this part of the body. And sometimes I just get so awed at her body, how it all works. One part, how it affects all the other parts. You notice my chin, I try to put my chin a little bit level here. I'm going to come to center. So very detoxifying. You should drink a nice big bottle of water before you figure out what you might not use per se. All right, so I'm going to make my way to the back. I like to come down one vertebrae at a time. I've been in classes where they flop you down and just start working out. I think that's what the first on the back. So I like to find my place on the mat with my back again. Lifting my hips up, it's all that subtle movement. I want to stretch and have as much back on my mat as I can. And that's the whole point here, is I want a nice firm base. I'm going to take as much time finding that base on my mat with my back as I would if I was standing. So I've got a natural arch in my lower back. And I'm just going to take a breath here and find the center. And breathe. And then I'm going to gently bring the knees up and squeeze my knees and feet together kind of gently. And I'm going to just begin to do some rolls. Kind of along the top of the hip. And using my knees for support. And just kind of, this is more of a massage than it's an energy work. It's just releasing the tension you have in that lower lumbar. I'm going to reverse it. As I come through that lumbar area, I notice, I'm pressing the back a little bit. You have a little too much curve in your back. Usually feels kind of good. And then I'm going to come to center, and I'm going to take my feet and I'm going to press towards the ceiling. Come into legs up the wall. Now in this pose, it does take some stamina to learn this pose, I think. So if you're just or starting an exercise unit, feel free to bring one foot down, and after 1 minute, bring that foot up and bring the other foot down. And at any time, of course, you can bring the feet to the mat and rest. But what we're going to do is we're going to come into an L here. So it should be 90 degrees. And then I'm going to take my hands and put them under my hips. For me, that helps with my lower back. You don't have to. Some people use a blanket or a block under their back. A block for me is way too intense, but sometimes it. So you can also do it, Google it, do it actually against the wall. So now you know that this is pointed toes, flex toes, pointed toes, flex toes. Now stop halfway, bring the feet together. Gentle engagement of the feet together, heels together. My legs are engaged. My glutes are engaged. My core is engaged. But the rest of my body really doesn't need to be engaged. So this is called isolation. And so I want to imagine that through my shoulders and my arms, my neck, and my jaw, I'm starting to release some of that and allow my legs and my back to work in this pose. In fact, I'm going to add some jaw, just kind of some stretching of the jaw. A lot of people have a little extra tension in their face, especially with the masks, and not being able to say what they want. Maybe sometimes it doesn't stop me. But allowing that jaw to rest, and, there again, one of the symptoms of heart attacks, jaw pain. So let's let that tension go, grinding the teeth, out to the jaw, all result in keeping too much tension in that jaw. So I like to do this for about 2 minutes, which is usually 22 of my breaths if I'm practicing by myself. And then to come out of it, I'm simply going to rock my hips and remove one hand at a time. And then I'm going to bring my hands up the back of my legs, grab the insides of my knees, and draw my knees in towards my chest. Now, if you have touchy knees, you can stay right here, or you might be able to wrap your hands around your legs and give yourself a squeeze. Flex the feet towards you. I have touchy knees, so I'm going to bring my hands underneath it. I want to keep my shoulders wide to the floor and compress my back into the floor. This is called wind releasing pose. My thighs are pressing into my belly, and as I breathe, I'm really getting into that core and working on massaging that. This is a great pose for the holiday season, which oh my goodness, closer. You have a stomach ache. Right away in the morning after I've brought it back. Go back to bed and some of these poses in my bed. It's just the best way for me to actually feel the morning. But it's scary. It's a nice way. I also find these poses kind of helps me clear my mind. Maybe it's the all right, and then we're gonna bring the feet to the mat. I'm gonna lengthen out my left leg I'm going to lengthen out my right leg. And they're going to go towards the corners of the mat. I'm going to bring my hands and place my fingers behind my head and use my thumbs as support here. I'm going to gently lift and give myself a little bit of a neck stretch and very, very gently set my head down. Then I'm going to lengthen out my left arm, lengthen out my right arm. So they're about 45 degrees. Now, right now, I'm really flexed. I'm going to take a breath in and exhale. And do that again. Inhale, flex my body up, and exhale. Let it go. Melt. Let the tongue pull back in the mouth. Jaw relax. Close the eyes. Bring your focus inward. Just do a mental scan of your body. Where are you holding tension? I'm still feeling it in my hips. Maybe just a little wiggle there to adjust. Breath there. I've been in studios sometimes where the floor is not so nice. So if that happens and you don't feel like having your arms out, bring your left hand to your heart, your right hand to your belly. And it completes an energy circuit that allows that energy to still rotate in your body. Just find a place of comfort there. And then meditation becomes really personal. That inner focus. I was taught real formal meditation, so I look for the pituitary gland, which lies in the middle of my brain, right behind center of my mouth. There's also a pineal gland just above it. People work on the pineal gland during meditation. Some people meditate and bring their focus to their heart. Very personal. As long as you're coming to a place where you can draw almost as though you were breathing through every cell of the body. Focus gently comes to that spot. And look for a light. Some studies believe that the pituitary gland actually emits inside your cell. Imagine the breath comes into that gland, clears and cleans. There it becomes healthy. So we're done growing physically, most of us. We always have mental growth and spiritual growth. Pituitary gland is about growth. So the harder it gets, the tough part it becomes, the less likely we are to take in new experiences and new ideas. The less likely we are to think that things are hard in our attitudes. Beliefs. Strong ideas. And with that knowledge and that affirmation, silence. We must
ground. Meditation is firm. The ground is near the sea. It's a good place to start. My breath. There's an old saying, "Can't find cheese today and find grain." My breath is signal. And breath. Great. To 11. Begin to bring gentle movement to your body, and bend to the knees. Sometimes if your back is bothering you, meditate. Meditate with your knees bent. You roll up a blanket underneath your knees for support. A little bit of movement across the hips, maybe with a rock motion. Just bringing a calm away from the body. Take a breath in, and on the exhale, roll to one side or the other. And you walk from cradle to your head in the hands. I bring my forehead to the earth. I let go of frustration. It came up during my meditation. Once again, grounding into your hand. Self-doubt. Sometimes we're our own worst critics. When you feel ready, you begin to use your strong arms. And your eyes soft. And make your way to seated. Usually meditate with secret graceful getting out. And bring your hands back to the heart. Come back with intention and gratitude. Breathe gratitude into your heart. Press the thumbs into the smile. Good night. Good love. You are needed. All right. I hope this recording. Hope to see all of you in class soon. Be well.